if I was in year 11 again and I had my Easter holiday right now, my exams in 60 days or so, this is exactly how I would be studying. So I got straight nines in my GCSEs. I got straight A's at my A levels. What I'm going to be doing in today's video is helping someone out, one of our subscribers who is asking exactly how much they should be studying, and what they should be focusing on when studying. So this guy has got around 6s and 7s. He's trying to push it up.
How many hours do you have to put in like every day?
How many are you putting in right now?
Honestly, I tried doing like 4 or 5, but I ended up like only doing 2 like, properly.
And what grades are you at right now?
In my marks, I got mostly 6s and 7s, and I got 8 and 9 as well, but that was like 2 subjects.
Okay. What are you aiming for?
I want to get everything above a 7 and as many 8s and 9s as possible.
Okay, that makes sense. And so if you took the exam, like if your exam started tomorrow, do you think you'd get like a similar grade to your mocks?
Yeah, probably. I reckon in most subjects I would.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wait, so you say you try to do 4 to 5, but you can only really focus for 2, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, honestly.
So what do you actually do during those 4 to 5 hours? Walk me through it. Like, for example, yesterday or the day before, what were you doing like for hour 1, hour 2, hour 3, etc.?
Like usually I've got like this Notion like calendar thing. So I've put everything inside there. So like for example, yesterday I had 3 things to do. I had to go over one topic of physics, like fully like smash it out.
Yeah.
Paper 1 maths and inspector calls, just like go over it.
Okay.
And then only doing the maths, because when it came to inspector calls, it was just like I was going through, but I just didn't like.
You didn't
I
really
don't
know what
know.
to do. You didn't really have a plan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's exactly it. It's just like what to revise.
Yeah, exactly. Physics, what was that like when you did that one topic? How did you revise for it?
Usually I just go on Seneca to do it.
Does Seneca work for you? Like,
honestly, I'm not sure. Like, I just don't know.
Yeah. What did you get in your physics mock?
6.
6, okay.
Oh yeah, but I got with sciences are my worst because I got 2 5s and a 6.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, so are those your lowest grades?
Yeah, lowest grades.
Okay. Yeah, you probably want to focus your most on those then. If you're aiming to get like a baseline of 7s, right? You want to get those up to a 7. Have you tried the past papers for any of these subjects?
My printer's broken, so I can't really do that, honestly.
That's fine. But I mean, in my opinion, it's a good thing that you haven't done them yet, because that gives you a lot of leeway at least. What, do you have like an iPad or any way you could do it?
Yeah, I have an
Yeah, an iPad, that'd probably work. That's how I did all my past papers. Just download the PDF, like get an app like Color Note, and you can actually write your past papers on that iPad if you have a pen with it. What I'd say, right? So if you sort of know where you're going to be at if you took the exams tomorrow, for example. So the past papers, if you do a past paper, or if you do all 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, you'll see that on average, for example, if you took all the physics past papers now, on average you'd probably be getting like a 5 or a 6 on all of them. And that basically just tells you that you'd get a 5 or a 6 in the real exam as well. So a past paper is a benchmark. It tells you what you're going to get in the real exam, pretty much, basically. So what you want to do is use that. For example, use 1 or 2 of them, and then figure out how you can push that to a 7 or an 8. And then, like, by the end of it, right before your exams, you want to do like a 1 or 2 past papers and be getting 7s or 8s in them. So all you have to do is figure out how you can actually get there. Like I said, with sciences, it's all about just practice questions, in my opinion, at late stage at least. So I wouldn't really do Seneca, actually. I'd probably just go straight to practice questions. Do you know this website?
Yeah, I've used that.
Yeah. So if you're, for example, do you know what topics are the reason why you're getting like a 5 in physics or a 6 in physics?
It's more for me. It's definitely the 6 markers and stuff. Like there'll always be a 6 marker, and like I just won't do at all. I get 0 marks on it, and that's what really like differentiates the 7s and 6s.
Yeah.
Like,
Is it a 6 marker in a particular topic that makes you lose it, or is it just you don't know how to do the 6 markers at all?
Generally 6 months. Yeah.
Okay. Are you AQA?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's have a quick look. Which topic did you do yesterday? Did you say?
Energy. First one.
No, I'm on. Oops. I was on there we go. GCSEs here. Okay, energy. Bosh. Yeah. Instead of doing Seneca, I'd go through all of this. All right, and it's a lot, but you learn a lot more. Let's have a quick look. Are there any 6 markers in here? No. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I mean, 6 markers, again, I think they'll come with practice, especially with the mark schemes. So what you'll see with this, if we go to the answer, is it question 20? The answer scheme is going to be on the other side. Have you like got really familiar with answer schemes at all?
No, I saw a video on that though, like going through all the papers and stuff on Anki 21.
Oh, you have been doing that?
No, I just saw it yesterday and I was like, I'm definitely gonna do it.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Let me try and turn the sound up. Yeah, what did you say?
Like going through all the past questions and stuff. What if like on your real exam, a question that's never asked comes?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's obviously going to happen. Like all of the questions in the real exam, you're not going to have seen them before. But what you find with all of these past paper questions is, if you're doing, like, let's say, I'll pull this up. It doesn't actually show, but like these questions are all the way back from like the 2000 papers or 2001 papers, right? If you do all of those questions from 2001 all the way to 2021, like 21 years worth of questions, the questions end up repeating themselves a lot. All they do in an exam is they just use a different context. So instead of it being an energy question like a 6 marker on one context, it'll be on a different context. It'll like be about something else, but it'll be the similar 6 marks. So something like this. That's not it, I don't think. Wait, hold on. I can't find that. Oh, it's in question 20. Yeah, I mean, once you've gone through a lot of them, you'll find that they're very often just the same, but in a slightly different way, which is why it is the best way, in my opinion, to go about it. So, like, even for me, right, if I was you, I would just put all of these past papers, all of these questions into a Anki deck and just memorize all of them. And what happens once you sort of do start memorizing them is you start to understand the mark schemes on a different level. And by the time the actual exam comes around, when they ask you a question in a certain way that looks a bit similar to this question, for example, that's that 6 marker, there'll be a question that looks a bit similar to this and you'll be able to answer it pretty well. But yeah, I mean, what you'll find in most ways, right? If you ask anyone it's not the best way to actually learn, right? Because it is, like I said in the video, it's sort of like a Hail Mary when you've got like only a month left and you just spam practice questions. But if you ask anyone who's done all of these, there are quite a few people, I know a few people, that all they did to revise was they just did all of these questions, every single question on physics and maths tutor, and they got them like an 8 or a 9. It's like you need like a linear path to your 8 or 9, right? You need to know exactly what you need to complete before your exam, and then you'll be guaranteed an 8 or a 9. And practice questions is one of them. Like, you really don't have to do anything else. It's just make sure you do all the practice questions, and the chance of you getting a 6 after you've done all of them and sort of understood them to a good level is really low, right?
Yeah. And finally, like, the last thing I want to just talk about is, like, in terms of like revision now, how many subjects should I do and how long should I spend on each of them?
Yeah, so right now, I think to say how much you should do is difficult when you don't have like an end goal. So I think the first thing you want to do is figure out what inputs do I need to do to get these grades. Like I was saying earlier, I think it'll be easier to just start drawing something. But it's like you want a set of conditions, right? This is how I always think about it. This is taking forever to log me in. Let me just go on whiteboard. Yeah, you want for each of your subjects, the best way if you want to get straight 8s, straight 9s, whatever it is, right? You want a condition, a set of conditions. So like a list of things that you think, once you've done this list for physics, you can guarantee like an 8, right? So first you want to get that list that's sorted out for all of your subjects. And then, once you've got that list for all of these like 10 subjects that you've got, all you have to do is make sure that you're scheduling it in to a point where you're going to finish all of that before the actual exam. So for me, for my GCSEs, for the sciences, it was at least having done like 80% of like of all the questions on physics and maths tutor, and that would sort of guarantee me a 9. Computer science, like I said to the person that came in before you, I had all I had listed out for myself was memorize all of the past paper questions. So it was from 2016 to 2020. I think it was only 2020 because that's when I took the exam. And I said if I memorize these, so I went through them a few times on Anki, I just went through the flashcards a few times on Anki. I said that would probably get me a 9. And then for maths, I had a few different sets. I had there was like 2 videos that I'd memorized from this YouTube channel that I showed on the video.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and then there was there was a few others, like a grade 9 playlist that I was using as well. And basically, if I finished all of that and I knew how to answer every question on that, I basically knew I was going to get a 9. So it was basically like that, right? I think the best way for you is to have that list, and it needs to be like a good list, right? It needs to be even something like completing a whole thing on Seneca, like for example, completing the whole course of physics on Seneca. That is a list. If you think that's going to get you a grade 8, just schedule it in a way that you will finish that whole list before your actual exam, right? And then, I mean, what you might find is you might finish all of this stuff in only 2-3 hours a day, and you don't have to actually spend that 4 or 5 hours a day, and you don't have to feel guilty about not revising. But yeah, that's the main thing. You want to find these lists. And I made that first video that I made has pretty much got all the different lists that I'd recommend. So like I said, for the history and like the English, you just want to make sure you've done an essay on every single topic. For maths, you want to do those videos. For sciences, you want to do a certain amount of practice questions. For computer science, same thing. But yeah, you just want to get those lists and schedule it in whatever way you need to. So if you haven't done any of these,
especially OCR, like OCR repeats so many questions, or like blatantly repeating, like without even like changing context. So with the computer science like Anki thing, definitely, I know that'll work to get a 9. And then it's just these science now trying to get these practice questions in.
Yeah. I think good places to start. At least see how it goes, right? Because what you might find after you've done, like maybe try completing all of these, right? At least this much, right? So complete like 60% of these practice questions and these papers, and understand them to like a decent level, and then see if that actually changes the level of understanding you have for this topic of energy. And what I'd guess is it would, because you've done so many questions, you've seen so many mark schemes, you'd probably be kind of comfortable with energy. I'm assuming the reason you were revising energy the other day was because you sort of knew that you were a bit weaker on it, right?
Yeah.
So if you try it, try it, see if it works. You want to find one method that is getting you the results, and then just double down on it instead of like doing loads of different methods. And I mean, for English as well, because I know you said you didn't really know what to do for inspector calls, right? Again, you want a list of things you need to have done that will guarantee you an 8. And for me, that list was basically having written like 10 or 20 essays and having sent them to my teacher and got like a grade 8 level mark back. So how I'd just do the essays open book. I'd use that guy's YouTube channel called Mr. Salas.
How many quotes did you learn for English practicals? Like roughly.
How many quotes did you say?
Yeah.
I didn't memorize any quotes, I don't think. So this is what I told to there was a guy I spoke to 2 days ago. How I think about English, right, is if you've written all these essays. Actually, I didn't really memorize the quotes. What I memorized more was the essays that I wrote. So I wrote like 10 to 20 grade 8 essays. And I sort of memorized the points on each of those essays. So I knew, for example, if it was going to ask me a question on like Sheila or something like that, I knew I'd do this. I'd do point 1, point 2, point 3, and that would be my essay done, right? So with a point, obviously I would link to all of these other essays that I'd made, but I'd sort of memorize the quotes that were used to make that point valid, and that's how I memorized my quotes. What I'd say about quotes is don't focus on memorization for English at all until you can actually write a grade 7 or 8 essay open book, because again, like if you've got all the quotes at hand and you still can't write a grade 8 or 9 essay, then there's no point memorizing them. That's not going to boost you up a grade, right? So I think just write loads of essays for English, send them to your teacher, and memorize the point structure that you're using. For example, if it's an essay on Eric again, I think that was his name, memorize the points that you're going to write about Eric, and once you've done that, like these quotes, there's going to be loads of quotes that are surrounding those points that make those points valid. They will you'll memorize them automatically because your point wouldn't make sense without the quote, you know?
Yeah. You know, I feel like English isn't like too much of a struggle for me. It's more just like, like section B, poems.
Poems.
I've got love and relationships, and it's just like learning. I'm trying to learn 5 properly and learn the rest, but it's just like, I don't know. It's hard.
Oh yeah, I forgot. What is the poem? What is that? What is section B like? Is it you get given a poem in the paper, right?
No, section B is like you have to learn 15 poems, and then they'll give you one poem and they'll ask you to compare it to another one.
Oh right, okay. Oh,
It's section B paper.
Difficult. Let me see one of the papers. Is it paper 1?
Paper 2.
Paper 2. This would probably work. Yeah, it's not that great. Literature.
Yeah.
Yeah, so unseen poetry.
No. This is for this year. They didn't do it. So just go back to like 2021 or something. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sense. Okay. Let's look at physics and maths tutor. That might show it. So you think, or should I go to like 2018?
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, just go down and scroll to like section B.
Section B, so this part, right? Oh, true. I think my year didn't do it either, because I was in 21.
Yeah, it's like that. So they give you a poem and that compare it.
Yeah, so you basically have to have this sort of memorized, right?
Basically, yeah. There's no point.
You have to really learn those. What I say, I mean, yeah, I mean, it looks like it's a similar thing, though, right? You'd have to, instead of memorizing like the whole poem, memorizing the quotes from the poem, if you've written essays on each of these poems and you memorize the points that you'd write about that, or like the analysis, just memorize like a few big points, right? For any, I guess, is it always going to ask like one other poem from Love and Relationships, and like, or for example, Power and Conflict?
It'll always ask you to compare to one of the poems. So it'll give you one. So let's say one poem about romantic love.
Yeah.
It'll ask you to compare to another poem, which also
or one from Power and Conflict. Are those the only two topics you've got?
Power and Conflict is like a whole different one. So it's only just love and relationships.
Okay, that makes sense. Oh, so this. Okay, so you're always going to be asked. I mean, you only really need to know like one from Power and Conflict and one from Love and Relationships, then, no? Oh, unless they give it to you, right?
It's only one. You don't have to do one of them.
Yeah.
So some schools do Power
Which one
and
do you
Conflict.
usually choose?
Love and Relationships.
Love and Relationships. Okay. Yeah, I mean, what I'd do is probably write some essays on some of the poems from Love and Relationships and just memorize the points like that. Same thing like we did over there, and your quotes will sort of come along with that, you know. So you really you just want to understand a few poems in depth, and you'll sort of it also needs some practice being able to compare the poems, so that is a different skill in itself. Just keep practicing essays for this. Like I think memorizing quotes and stuff, that can be done like in the last week. Like just spam through a few flashcards and that'll do it. If you're like stuck on what to revise for this, just keep doing loads and loads of essays, send them to your teacher and just get feedback on it. That's like the best way. So I mean, what I'd say with this, like, it seems like you just need to figure out a few things. I mean, or at least for each subject, just figure out one thing that you should be doing. And whenever you're sitting down to revise that subject, just do that one thing. For sciences, it's practice questions. For history, it's essays. For computer science, practice questions, like that sort of stuff. And yeah, have that list, right? Have that list of what you think you need done to get those grades, and then that's how you schedule your time. So that might end up being that you need to do 4 to 5 hours going through, for example, the maths videos, or you might have to do 3 hours a day going through PMT questions for each of the sciences. But at least instead you'll actually be doing those 4 to 5 hours, and you'll be quite focused in because you know what you have to be doing. You'll be working towards a progress bar basically, and you'll be completing towards that goal, right?
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than like going to revise and you just
and then not
know
knowing what to do. Yeah, that's like the main thing you have to fix, is having a set end goal and then just work backwards, figure out what you need to do in there. But yeah, you have any other questions?
No, that's it. Thank you so much.
No worries, man. Hopefully that was useful.
All right, cheers.
See you.